Two schoolboys assisting police in their investigations into multiple stabbings at a secondary school. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, February the 7th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Two schoolboys are assisting police in their investigations following a stabbing incident at a secondary school in the north of the island yesterday afternoon. The 16-year-old and 14-year-old were taken into custody after a fight in which three 15-year-old boys were stabbed and a 12-year-old girl was struck by a stone. Police say that during the lunch break, two groups of boys became involved in a fight, and as a result, the three other students sustained multiple stab wounds about their bodies and the girl hit with a stone on her thigh during the melee. Now, the two of the boys are in stable condition, while a third boy is listed as serious. Minister of Finance Chris Sinclair is warning of the possibility of Barbados descending into violence if political parties do not control the actions of overzealous supporters eager to cross the line. Speaking in Parliament yesterday, Sinclair also cautioned that unnamed persons who he said illegally recorded phone calls and internet transmissions of public officials and private individuals during the tenure of the last Barbados Labour Party government were waiting in the wings for the call of elections to continue their what he called their dastardly acts. Sinclair's warnings came during his contribution to the debate on the Telecommunications Amendment Bill 2017 introduced by Prime Minister Francis Stewart to ensure that specified provisions of the Act are applicable to the rules, regulations and orders made in accordance with the Act.
We have an election coming up. I've said it to the Prime Minister and I've said it to the Attorney General, I've said it to my colleagues. If the people who are responsible for leading these political parties, I know my Prime Minister has made it very clear what his position is, but if the people who are responsible for the leadership of these parties, not just the leader, the leadership of these parties, do not make it abundantly clear to their supporters, whomever they may be or whoever they think they may be, that there is a line beyond which they should not cross. I don't want to see it happening. God forbid, knock on wood, it doesn't. But violence will rear its ugly head in the coming campaign. I am saying that as there is a God above.
A fresh attempt is being made to solve the worsening sewage crisis on the south coast, with the Barbados Water Authority admitting that interim measures to control the problem have failed. Following a meeting yesterday among top officials of the BWA, the Ministry of Health, and the Environmental Protection Department, BWA General Manager Keith Roy Halliday announced that 300-foot injection wells must now be dug as a matter of urgency as time was running out.
Well, the injection wells really are part of what we had considered to be a medium term, which we have now brought forward of necessity, in as much as the interim measures, mitigation measures, are no longer sufficient to contain the situation as we would want, i.e. to keep the overflows to an absolute minimum. What is happening is that because of the worsening of the situation and because of what we see as additional water intrusion, which adds to the existing challenge, it means that we're having more backups, than we would have liked or than we would have hoped for. And therefore, with provided we get the concurrence of MOH and MOE and Coastal Management Unit, we want to erect three emergency, or several rather, emergency deep injection wells.
Now, Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George confirmed that the Ministry of Health had agreed to the digging of the wells, starting with a test well under conditions that would ensure the safety of the drinking water. Dr. George also revealed that Barbadian and United States officials would begin joint testing of the drinking water at the homes of U.S. Embassy staff today, following a contentious medical alert issued by the Americans last month advising that tests conducted at those residences, mainly in the sewage-affected areas of the South Coast, has shown elevated bacterial levels.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Jamaica recorded a whopping 141 murders last month. The police say 12 of those were carried out in St. James, despite a state of public emergency currently in place in that parish.
There have been 21 reported shootings in the parish, despite the increased presence of the police and the military. For the entire country, the review shows that 141 persons were murdered in Jamaica for the month of January. There were 15 cases of homicide within the first 3 days of that month. Between January 1 and February 3, 156 persons were killed in Jamaica. That's 24 more murders when compared to the corresponding period in 2017. The Police High Command has been giving special attention to Clarendon, which recorded 18 murders, the St. Catherine North Division, 22, and St. Andrews South, 15. 3 children have been murdered since the start of 2018.
And on the international scene, President Donald Trump says he would love to see the U.S. government shut down if Congress does not agree to an immigration deal. Earlier in the day, his chief of staff said Trump was unlikely to extend a deadline when legal protections for young immigrants expire.
I'll go a step further. If we don't change the legislation, if we don't get rid of these loopholes where killers are allowed to come into our country and continue to kill gang members, and we're just talking about MS-13, there are many gang members that we don't even mention. If we don't change it, let's have a shutdown. We'll do a shutdown, and it's worth it for our country. I'd love to see a shutdown if we don't get this stuff taken care of. So we have to strengthen our borders, not by a little bit, but by a lot. We are so far behind the time. And by the way, the world is laughing at us because they can't believe these policies. They don't have it. I could name 15 of them right now. No other country in the world has what we have. And we're going to get it stopped. And if we have to shut it down because the Democrats don't want safety, and unrelated but still related, they don't want to take care of our military, then shut it down. We'll go with another shutdown.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in-bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mixed 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.